Good evening. We are so glad that you could join us for tonight's main news bulletin. Let's take a look at the stories that are making headlines this evening. Police question FDD leader EDITH NAWAKWI on the abduction of the HATEMBO'S. KALABA asked government to subsidize MEALIE-MEAL. Over 3 months of unpaid salaries for council workers, ANNOYS, ZULAWU. In international news, Ethiopia declares state of emergency in AMHARA region. And in sports news, FAS not aware of any sex scandal allegations involving the Copper Queens catch. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Do join me with the details shortly.
This year, at the 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show, Camnet TV will be carrying out stunt coverages for those exhibiting at this important national event. The show will take place from the 2nd to the 7th of August 2023 and will run under the theme Inclusive Economic Transformation. Partner with us and reach out to show goers by booking space for live interviews and stunt coverages by engaging our marketing department on 0961 40 4493 or 0966 81 1428. To make sure that we do not leave anyone behind, we have flexible rates for small and medium enterprises. To our dear viewers, those of you that won't make it to the showgrounds, we will bring the show to you. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying with us. And now the news in detail. Zambia United Local Authorities Workers Union, ZULAWU, has accused the Lusaka City Council LCC management of prioritizing luxury over the plight of workers. Council workers in Lusaka claim they have gone without pay for over 3 months, while management is quiet on the matter. ZULAWU President Emmanuel Mwinsa wonders how an institution like the Lusaka City Council can fail to clear salary arrears with the removal of cadres in markets and bus stations. They have since appealed to the government to bail out local authorities that are owing employees so that they start afresh. We have more in this report.
Disappointed, they walk away after being addressed by the Zambia United Local Authorities Workers Union President Emmanuel Mwinsa. These are council workers who have gone without pay for about 3 months now. They demand that all their arrears be cleared or they strike. In addressing these angry Lusaka City Council workers, ZULAWU President Emmanuel Mwinsa has accused the local authority management of prioritizing luxury over the plight of these workers.
There is no withdrawal of labor by the workers at Lusaka City Council. All the workers are working and they are working effectively. This is how much workers can go in terms of sacrifice. Look at these workers. They are not being paid. Some of them, they have even been given notices of eviction by their landlords, but they are reporting for work. So our appeal is, yes, the engagements have continued, and this is why we are saying we cannot proceed by keep on waiting on whatever has been promised by the authorities. Factors that are triggering to the unpaid salaries to the workers here at this council. It is our belief as the labor movement that Lusaka City Council in its state with the facilities it has as a city council cannot fail to pay salaries. This is why we are directing these matters on the failure on the part of management. Because the people who are entrusted with the responsibility and obligation to manage the affairs of this council, it's management. So if these workers, they have been going out, collecting the revenues, they have been present in terms of discharge of duties, and at the end of the day, they cannot be able to get a salary, then where are the funds going? So
he has since appealed to President Hakainde Hichilema and his government to bail out all local authorities owing their employees so that they start afresh.
They've now lost confidence in their management, and the only hope remains in the head of state, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, whom as the labor movement we are appealing to come on board and rescue the council workers. We've got much confidence in our Republican President that the heart that he has and the witnesses he made the time when he had not formed government or when his party had not formed government, these are the things the council workers were going through. At some point, our head of state could issue even sympathetic statements regarding the sufferings of the workers.
These workers have been understanding for the past 3 months and not anymore, as some of them could not speak to the media. While others look strong, others have reportedly threatened of taking their own lives as life has become unbearable and meaningless. Others have been saved with eviction notices by their landlords and hope for a miracle, God knows when. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Some residents of Lusaka's Mutendere Ward 30 area have accused the area councillor Boniface Chibeka of neglecting the ward and failing to lobby for development. In an interview with Camnet News, the residents have lamented over the poor state of the roads, which were nearly cut off during the rainy season. Meanwhile, when contacted, Mr. Chibeka disputed the allegations, saying he and the area member of parliament are currently planning projects to benefit the residents of Mutendere.
One might think it is already February when most places are supposed to be flooded due to heavy rains. But no, it is only August, and here waters have found a comfortable home to settle. This is Ali Kinkata Road in Lusaka's Mtendere Ward 30 area, where this stretch of the road has developed dangerous potholes. The status of this road, especially on this stretch, has been bad for a long time now.
Road bueno. Ona ni so mamene funi kongalira road funi kongara che niti che mwatikonzera go cheka road kangara go cheka mushe mufuri kache mwaona na kuona che mweka thinki muona naona kwani so ndana kumbuyo futi kwa mene huko na kweve skuli bwino bakonzeko road please tapapata ganda ora kuli ba member of parliament na ba RDA batikonzereko road yaipa maningi maroads seyari mushe mentana first maroads ngamu muna standard yemene mufuna yo konzani first maroads angara mushe ishina ma standards ene mufuna yo manje tizamba kuziyo mapampo metienda mu kwa GPS ayi i road otherwise awo siri bwino mane mkalangana kutoka paja fika huko kuja ku police kuja spari bwino mane ngazako paja wanatukonzerako maya apapepe alipoipa maningi takapena vacho imbekeza ma-elections yakabwere kuti kapena maybe ndipo azakatikonzera batipembako vatichaile court road kuti tichoimbekeza ma-elections.
Other residents who spoke off camera have accused the area member of parliament Mike Mposha and the area councillor Boniface Chilenga of not being in good terms for political reasons. However, when contacted, it was actually discovered that the two were together at the MP's office and assured residents in the area that plans are underway to fix the problem.
As I'm talking to you right now, I'm with the MP at his office, and right now we are making decisions in development of Mtendere under CDF. We are making decisions how to improve Magandi ground. We are making decisions together how to improve the road network. And the issue of leakages has nothing to do with the relationship between the MP and the councillor. The leakages is as a result of excess water now being pumped into Mtendere. And the other reason for the leakages are our people in the compound. They are actually draining water from their yards onto the road.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
A group of United Party for National Development UPND supporters in Monza district of Southern Province have expressed disappointment at the fact that some foreign nationals are hiking MEALIE-MEAL prices at the expense of the locals. A check by the youth revealed that the foreign business-owned shops are hiking the commodity prices abnormally to 230 kwacha for a 25-kilogram breakfast bag and 195 kwacha for roller meal when the order prices from the Zambia National Service Milling Plant is 150 kwacha and 120 kwacha for 25 bag of breakfast and roller meal respectively. One of the youths, Lawrence Sakala, says the leaders in the country have failed to help President Hakainde Hichilema tackle the escalating prices of MEALIE-MEAL by failing to conduct regular checks on what is prevailing on the ground.
The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND, has in recent months received a public backlash on the unstable price of MEALIE-MEAL, even after it announced plans to stabilize the price of the commodity by 2024. While this is a story to many citizens, UPND youths in Monze district of Southern Province are disappointed that some foreign nationals are selling the commodity to unsuspecting Zambians at exorbitant prices. The UPND youths who undertook an inspection were greeted with a shock as they found some foreign nationals selling a 25-kilogram bag of MEALIE-MEAL for breakfast and roller at 230 and 195 when the order prices from the Zambia National Service milling plant in the district is 150 kwacha and 120 kwacha for a 25 kg bag of breakfast and roller meal, respectively. One of the youths, Lawrence Sakala, says the behavior needs to come to an end because Zambians are being exploited.
Mazambians yapusa na manje na ma foreigners ma Rwandanese. Mazambians ngani waku white goat milling. White goat milling about 180 then bagulisa pa 195, meaning they are making a profit of 10 kwacha when they remove transport money, which is 5 kwacha. So what's the point of these foreigners exploiting the price? Pakasaka ku igozuguza then they are selling at 220, 210. Meaning, wapanga profit ya 60.
Another youth, Dominic Shingalu, says the foreigners should stop stealing from poor Zambians and called for the need to employ a strategy in engaging the shop owners.
As a government, we're supposed to find a way how we are going to engage the shop owners so that they should stop exaggerating the prices. We know where they are plant milling. The prices which they are selling the milling. The milling is going at 150. How come a shop owner can come and sell a bag of milling at 250, 240? Is he supporting the government all the day? Answer is no. Let us put measures on how we are going to help our own people who can't have an access to go to the ZNS.
The question begging for answers is whether or not the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is effectively enforcing competition and consumer protection laws aiming to create an environment where businesses can thrive while protecting consumers from unfair practices. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
In a related story, Citizens First Party leader Harry KALABA has attributed the escalating price of MEALIE-MEAL in the country to failure by the government to handle the high cost of fuel. In an interview with Camnet News, Mr. KALABA says fuel plays a critical role in the prices of goods and services and says provided fuel remains high, the price of MEALIE-MEAL will continue to escalate. The CF leader says what government should be working on is at assuring that the production cost of maize is lowered by lowering the price of fertilizer, which can be done through subsidies. He says the levels at which MEALIE-MEAL prices are increasing, while the result in many Zambians failing to afford the commodity, which will leave the people with no choice but kick the UPND out of office come 2026. We have the details in this report.
This country has been unstable since the UPND came into government. They have not found the correct formula of how they can arrest the price of fuel. If you don't arrest the price of fuel, you cannot arrest the price of essential commodities because everything hinges on fuel. And the UPND has been very elusive on that particular issue and they have not taken issues very seriously. And so as a result, we are finding it difficult to see what method the UPND will do to bring down the price of MEALIE-MEAL. MEALIE-MEAL will only come down if we are able to subsidize the growth, the growing of maize triangle. If we don't deal with that, if we don't subsidize fertilizer, if we don't make sure that the cost of production is cheap, the price of MEALIE-MEAL will continue being high. Now, even at that point, if you fail to arrest that point, it is important for the UPND leadership to find a way of beginning to subsidize the price of MEALIE-MEAL. while they are looking for cheap fertilizer, which will naturally turn into having a cheaper mealie-meal around the country. Mealie-meal is our staple food. If there's anything that kept Dr. Kaunda in power for 27 years, it was because he managed the price of mealie-meal. When he failed to keep the price of mealie-meal down, he was kicked out. And the same is going to happen to this government. Come 2026, there is no reason to keep UPND in government. And the UPND are bringing jokes where mealie-meal is concerned, and it's high time that we dealt with them in 2026 once and for all, so that people who are serious like myself and others can come and take over this government to the next level.
All People's Congress President Nelson Musoni has charged that it is serious indictment for the government to fail to control mealie-meal prices amid its continuous export of the commodity to the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. Mr. Musoni says political leaders have to weigh options before taking certain actions to ensure that interests of its people are safeguarded. He says the status quo is concerning to the opposition and has wondered whose interests those in government are saving. The opposition leader was responding to the statement made by Defense Minister Abros Lufuma that government has received tremendous demand of the commodity from neighboring countries. We have the details in this report.
I think it's a serious indictment for a government to admit that it is responsible for the rising costs of mealie-meal in the country because it's at a center of exporting mealie-meal to Congo, DRC. Okay? Surely, that's a serious indictment that a government minister himself can admit that they are part and parcel of the problems that have been inflicted upon our citizens, our people. That because the government has gone ahead to export mealie-meal to Congo DRC, that's why the prices of mealie-meal continue to rise up. Okay, it's very, very unfortunate. We expect government to be part of the solution. We expect government to help in maintaining the stability of the price of the staple food and not being part of the problem. Okay? Now, you must be in a position as a government to weigh your options. You should be able to weigh your options. Is exporting maize to Congo working in favor of your people, or it is working in favor of the business interest of a few elements in government? Okay, so as political leaders, we are concerned with this development. Okay? In essence, this is a very serious indictment on this government. Thank you.
Opposition Forum for Democracy and Development leader Edith NAWAKWI has challenged President Hakainde Hichilema to avail himself before the court in the matter of the Feluna and Milton HATEMBO. Speaking shortly after she was summoned by the police in Lusaka, Ms. NAWAKWI says she was questioned on allegations of alleged abduction and threatening violence to Feluna and Milton HATEMBO on dates unknown, but in 2020 and 2021. Ms. NAWAKWI is, however, happy that the case has come up and expects the police service to investigate the matter diligently. The opposition leader also says President Hakainde Hichilema has failed to motivate the country as seen by the increased cost of living.
The once buried HATEMBO siege, which sparked public debate in 2020, has resurfaced with a new twist as the police in Lusaka Friday morning, the 4th of August 2023, summoned Edith NAWAKWI, the opposition leader of Forum for Democracy and Development, FDD. The summoning of the opposition leader before the force headquarters this morning was concerning the alleged abduction and threatening violence against Feluna and Milton HATEMBO on dates unknown but in 2020. The HATEMBO siblings first made headlines in 2020 when it was alleged that they mysteriously disappeared in early 2021 after signing a letter disavowing their intentions to claim their 2,000 hectares farm in Kalomo, which they had alleged was fraudulently acquired by President Hakainde Hichilema when he was in opposition. However, speaking shortly after the interrogations, Ms. NAWAKWI says her interest in the HATEMBO'S is part of her mission to gain information related to allegations that were leveled against the head of state when he was was an opposition leader. The opposition leader charges that she's geared for the case and has since challenged the head of state to rise and avail himself once court proceedings begin.
Investigation. So I was warned and cautioned. They asked me if I had anything to say. I have advised them that at the present moment, I have nothing to say. Unless they opt to go to court, then I'll have mountains to say. Because the genesis of this Feluna story is in the public domain. The players are known. The beneficiaries of the Kalomo land is none other than the president himself.
Ms. NAWAKWI claims the allegation leveled against her is a witch hunt to silence political opponents. However, she advises the UPND administration to concentrate on stabilizing the cost of living. She accuses the UPND administration of failing to motivate citizens and control the unstable pricing of commodities in the country.
At the correct price, no one will tire their anxiety. But my worry right now is that President Hakainde Hichilema is tiring the anxiety in our people. And that's my major worry, and I'm praying that this should come to pass. I was hoping that this year the government can put good measures in place so that by next year people are able to calm down their anxiety.
The opposition leader has vowed to avail more information in court and does not expect the case to end in a nolle prosequi. She has since called on the law enforcers to professionally conduct investigations into the matter.
I've always dared them to say, let's go to court. Someone who wants to talk about it, they are following the correct procedures. They've inspired the Milton and the sister to complain. And the police are entitled to investigate. They are only doing a public job. They are public servants. Me, I always have nothing against the police. That's why when they call, I respect their cause. I've always shown up at the police when they call me. Because I recognize one thing. They are only doing a national duty to inquire. Because tomorrow I'll be the one to go there and complain. And we need to give the police the room to investigate, prepare the dockets, and hand them over to the DPP.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Independent Chiengi area member of parliament, Given Katuta, threatened the media and advised them not to cover her when she appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court Friday morning. The lawmaker confronted journalists who were filming her as she was leaving the court premises after she was informed that her assault case was not ready. Last month, the Zambia police arrested the lawmaker on assault charge following allegations that she spit on Times of Zambia journalist Henry Junza, who was filming her at Parliament when the Speaker of the National Assembly suspended her from the House for 1 week. Here are the details.
Independent Chiengi area member of parliament Given Katuta made her appearance before the subordinate court in Lusaka Friday in relation to an alleged assault case. However, it was not ready as there was no charge sheet before court. But after noticing the presence of the media, she was leaving the court premise. The lawmaker could not help but warn that she did not want any coverage.
If you are born from a woman, don't cover me. It's very clear. Don't cover me. Please, don't be excited. I've got a big family to take care of. Don't be excited. Sisi, tell your colleague.
Friday morning, the 4th of August 2023, the lawmaker who appeared before court in relation to the said assault case accused the media of being excited and out to dent her image in order to get paid. The tolerable journalist watched the lawmaker continue with her confrontation as they conducted their work.
Madam, don't cover me. Honestly. Don't cover me, and I insist, don't cover me. This is against my rights. Please don't cover me. I've taken 1,000 boys and girls to my universities, never covered. But you want to dent my image. I've got a family to take care of. This is my mother, she's 89 years old. But you want to dent my image so that you can get paid. Is that fair? Don't cover me. Don't put it in the newspaper. No, I want to put it clear. Mr. Kasam, tell your colleagues I don't want their coverage.
On the 25th of July 2023, police in Lusaka arrested the lawmaker on assault charge after it was alleged that she spit on a photojournalist at Times of Zambia, Henry Chuza, who was filming her at Parliament when the Speaker of the National Assembly suspended her from the House for 1 week. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Former presidential political advisor Kaiser ZULAWU sureties have informed the Lusaka Magistrate Court that they have reported a person they suspect to be harboring the accused to the police. Lumezi area member of parliament Monia Zulu and his counterpart Chilubi member of parliament Mulenga Fube told Principal Magistrate Sylvia Munyinga that they need more time to find the accused following the step taken. Mr. Kaiser Zulu, who is facing a criminal charge of failing to surrender a diplomatic passport, has been on the run for several months. Here's a report.
It's been over 2 months and law enforcers have failed to locate fugitive Kaiser Zulu from his hiding place. With no sign of him showing up anytime soon, his sureties, who were charged with the obligation of ensuring that he appears before court all the time when required, can only request for more time from the Lusaka Magistrate Court until they find him. Kaiser Zulu, the former presidential political advisor to former President Edgar Lungu, allegedly fled in May 2023. The accused is facing criminal charges before Magistrate Sylvia Munyinya in relation to failing to surrender a diplomatic passport and failing to appear before the nearest immigration officer. The alleged offense is said to have been committed between the 20th of December 2019 and the 9th of December 2022. On the 14th of June 2023, the court ordered for his arrest after noticing that he continued absconding the court session. This morning, Friday, the 4th of August 2023, his surety informed the court that despite not managing to find his whereabouts, they have reported a person they suspect to be harboring him to the police. Lumezi area member of parliament Munia Zulu and his counterpart Chilubi area member of parliament Mulenga Fube told Magistrate Munyinya that they need more time to find the accused following the step taken. The Lumezi lawmaker also hinted to the court that the accused is active in a certain WhatsApp group. The court later informed the two sureties that the bench warrant issued against the accused is not limited to immigration officers only, but open to all police officers in Zambia. The arresting officer in the matter also indicated to the court that all efforts to bring Mr. Kaiser Zulu to book have been futile. However, mechanisms to arrest him have been put in place. Before the accused went into hiding, he was found with a case to answer and placed on his defense. The 30th of August 2023 has been set as date for return of his bench warrant as the court extended it this morning. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Youth in Action for Disability Inclusion in Zambia, EDITH, says youth with disabilities need to equally participate in economic empowerment programs. Speaking at a review meeting of the Enhancing Youth Entrepreneurship and Employability Project in Lusaka on Friday, Mr. Banda says his organization has been training youth with disabilities in Lusaka and Mansa district of Luapula province in entrepreneurship skill to ensure that they compete favorably with abled persons. Meanwhile, Tiza Mbale, who is visually impaired, says she has been able to set up 3 businesses after being impacted by the project.
These are abled and disabled persons who Friday morning gathered in Lusaka to give a review on a project dubbed Enhancing Youth Entrepreneurship and Employability, which was being implemented in 2 provinces of the country. The project was aimed at empowering youths, including those with disabilities, to acquire entrepreneurship and employability skills that would better their lives. One of the beneficiaries of the program, Tizambale, who is visually impaired, shares how the program has helped her establish 3 businesses so far.
Benefited in so many ways. I acquired knowledge in computer and entrepreneurship, of which I as I am speaking, I'm able to use a computer with the help of screen readers such as JAWS and NVDA, and I'm able to use a smartphone with the help of a feature called TalkBack. So yeah, and then when it comes to entrepreneurship, I also acquired a skill in entrepreneurship. I'm running 3 businesses currently.
And Youth in Action for Disability Inclusion in Zambia, YADI's Executive Director, Ian Banda, says youths with disabilities also need to compete in the economic development of the country by being part of the development.
It is a starting point for us as we are also working towards the 2030 agenda of leaving no one behind, in ensuring that at least our youths with disabilities are participating in different entrepreneurship programs and skills programs to enable them at least contribute to the community and live an independent life like any other able-bodied persons without disabilities.
Meanwhile, the coordinators of the program have also spoken out.
They go in business and entrepreneurship now. They are able to make money even without them being there. So even without having sight, the barrier was broken that they could also engage. Yeah, I think we have got a lot of testimonies.
We are trained in professional employability skills, which includes tailoring, designing, cutting and tailoring, as well as the carpentry and joinery. Also computer, ICT. And we have those who are doing very, very well among those who are trained in these professional skills. And we also have those who are trained in...
So in Zambia, I think the project has brought in a lot of changes. For instance, we've seen changes like our very own youth resource center there. We've seen interpreter being engaged so that people like the deaf can be catered for.
Indeed, disability is not inability. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Still to come in the news, government with its cooperating partners have launched the time-release study, TRS, for Kazungula and Churudu border post, aimed at improving operations at the 2 facilities. I will be back with the details for this story and more stories still to come ahead. After this break, don't go away.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books and I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
This year at the 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show, Camnet TV will be carrying out stand coverages for those exhibiting at this important national event. The show will take place from the 2nd to the 7th of August 2023 and will run under the theme Inclusive Economic Transformation. Partner with us and reach out to show goers by booking space for live interviews and stand coverages by engaging our marketing department on 0961 404493 or 0966 811428. To make sure that we do not leave anyone behind, we have flexible rates for small and medium enterprises. To our dear viewers, those of you that won't make it to the showgrounds, we will bring the show to you. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying with us. We now continue with the rest of the news. Government with its cooperating partners have launched the time release study TRS for Kazungula and Chirundu border post aimed at improving operations at the two facilities. Speaking during the launch, Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA Director General Dingani Banda says the TRS implementation at the two facilities has reduced delays by up to 14%. And Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry Representative Nalitula Mwale says the time release study is in response to concerns by the private sector as they conduct cross-border trade.
Borders are one of the key facilitators of international trade. However, the smooth flow of cross-border trade is dependent on several factors, which comprise non-tariff barriers and tariff barriers. Tariff barriers refers to trade hindrances as a result of taxes, whilst non-tariff barriers refers to infrastructure and clearing time, among other factors. As a means to create efficiency in border operations, government has been conducting time release studies, a move in line with the World Customs Organization, WCO, aimed at measuring the time goods are cleared at borders to enhance trade through elimination of identified challenges. In this regard, the Zambian government, under the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, in collaboration with the Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA, with support from the Japan International Corporation JICA, has launched the country's 5th time release study report for Kazungula and Chirundu borders. Speaking during the launch, ZRA Director General Dingani Banda expressed happiness that some of the recommendations of the study were already in effect.
Based on the interim reports, I am happy to note that a number of the recommendations are already receiving active attention. For example, we have in place our technical staff supporting scanner operations. Our centralized processing centers continue to improve their processing efficiency, and with the support of cooperating partners, we are continuously enhancing and stabilizing the SUBSIDIZE system, which is the core system for customs management.
JICA Office Country Representative Yuki Erika said Japan is determined to support Zambia increase its trade beyond infrastructure support, such as the Kazungula Bridge.
So in this regard, I'd like to emphasize that it's not possible to solve the bottleneck to rail connectivities just by construction of the bridge and also facilities, but also we have to establish the procedures and also to enhance the capacity building of all stakeholders.
Officiating on behalf of Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Nalitula Mwale says government has undertaken a number of reforms to address challenges in cross-border trade,
including the directive to reduce the number of border agencies to 6 who will physically operate at the border. This will help to improve efficiency at the border by reducing dwell time for cargo clearance and reduce the cost of doing business.
Time release stud expert and collector Maxwell Kapindwa highlighted some of the findings from the report.
Come 2022, we have reduced from 20 to 2 days. This is a marvelous achievement and to show that the study is really having an impact on what we do. From 20 to 2 days is not a small achievement.
For Camnet News, Aphias Kaptula, Lusaka.
A Zambia environmental expert based in South Africa says there is need to include local communities in climate change adaptation mechanisms. Professor Mulala Simatele says in the work of intensified climate change impacts, local communities should be at the center of the adaptations process as they are the ones bearing the consequences of the scourge. He was speaking during a public lecture titled Empowering the Voiceless, Securing the Participation of Marginalized Groups in Climate Change Governance, organized by the University of Lusaka on Thursday evening.
2023 has seen the first 3 weeks of July mark the warmest period on record compared to previous averages of the first 23 days of the month since 1940. This is according to EU's Copernicus Climate Change Service and UN's World Meteorological Organization, WMO. This has resulted in wildfires in Canada, Algeria and Greece, among other countries. In Algeria, the fires killed 25 people, whilst authorities had to evacuate nearly 2,500 people from the Greek island of Corfu. In contributing in the discourse around climate change, University of Lusaka UNLAS Thursday held a public lecture dubbed Empowering the Voiceless, Securing Participation of Marginalized Groups in Climate Change Governance. Professor Mulala Simatele, an environmental scientist based in South Africa, was the main speaker and stressed the need for everyone to be involved in climate change fight, especially in Africa, where people are to be affected the most.
We do little to climate change, to generate climate change, but we pay the most what? Cost. Our people, you and me, will be the most to bear the cost of what? Climate change. Therefore, we cannot sit down and fold our hands. We need to be proactive.
And speaking on the sidelines of the lecture, Professor Simatele encouraged the inclusion of local communities in climate change adaptation measures.
Communities become very important here because they're the ones that drive the agenda for a productive society. And therefore, every effort that we have to do, first of all, has to have communities our center point to build their skills, to build their resilience, and to be able to then motivate them to be able to start transforming our environment, which is going to be greatly impacted by climate change.
Meanwhile, University of Lusaka Executive Dean, School of Postgraduate Studies, Professor Mlengajere, pledged the institution's continued support on climate change discourse.
So we are happy that it has been a success, and we're looking forward to hosting many more conversations like this, because it is through talking that we're going to change our attitudes. People change because first they know, then they think, then they change their behavior.
Earlier giving his remarks, Minister of Guinea Economy and Environment Permanent Secretary Dr. Daud Chibamba urged academicians to furnish policymakers with climate change data.
For providing empirical data. If our policy is going to be effective on climate change, we need your input with that empirical data so that it takes us to a place where there is evidence-based policy formulation process.
With the impact of climate change no longer a doubt, such initiatives should be encouraged and replicated to grow knowledge and information around climate change. For Camnet News, Aphias Kaptula, Lusaka.
The Department of Immigration says national security is key for inclusive social and economic development to take place. Department Public Relations Officer Namanti Shinka says the Immigration Department is increasing its manpower and presence in the country to ensure that the country's economic gains are safeguarded. Mr. Shika was speaking in line with this year's Agricultural Commercial Show, Inclusive Economic Transformation theme.
That is huge. And for a long time, we've not had dedicated personnel to do border patrols to reduce the incidence of illegal border crossing. But with the recent recruitment of border guards who are currently undergoing training and soon to be deployed, we envisage a drastic reduction in illegal border crossing. And also, when you talk about inclusivity, you cannot talk about inclusivity without talking about accessibility of your services. So as immigration, our services are accessible in that we have presence in 98 stations, that is across the country. So we are at 43 border controls, land borders, we are at 4 international airports, we are at 40 district offices and 10 provincial centers, and we have got our headquarters. So in addition to that, all our services are now online. You can access our services as long as you've got internet connectivity, and you can pay for our services online. Yeah, so and also we have decentralized the issuance and the printing of long-term permits, because before last year, long-term permits such as employment permits, residence permits, investors permits, spouse permits could only be printed and collected from our head office.
Kanyama Member of Parliament Monty Chinkuli has assured his constituency that schools in his constituency will have enough desks to cater for all the learners by December this year. Mr. Chinkuli says the Constituency Development Fund CDF Committee has received a request of about 3,000 desks, which he says will be delivered before the end of this year. The Kanyama lawmaker has since encouraged his constituents to utilize the opportunity and submit proposals for any project they wish to be worked on.
What we did was we went around the schools where we asked them to give us the number of desks that they wanted. So in total, we have received a request of about 3,000 desks. 1,500 have been, secured through 2022 CDF. So now the change that has been there is there's some inertia of some kind that people who have been given the mandate, or people who have been, who the government feel should come up with those, to get those contracts, are not coming forth. So, because of that, the system here, because ours is by the law, not by man. Governance is by the law. So ours is to ensure that each and every guideline is followed. So my appeal to the people of Kanyama in particular, all these projects that needs to be done in Kanyama, can we come forward and apply and tender those projects so that you are given those tenders and do the works.
In other news, a clergy of Malolo constituency in Northern Province has called on the government to consider demarcating the constituency for development to take shape. Reverend Brian Walia says delimiting Malole constituency is key in promoting development in the area. The clergy says due to the magnitude of the constituency, development has failed to reach the people. He says if the situation is left unchecked, people in the area risk losing confidence in the UPND administration. Still to come ahead in the news is international and sports news. Don't go away.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
This year, at the 95th Agriculture and Commercial Show, Camnet TV will be carrying out stand coverages for those exhibiting at this important national event. The show will take place from the 2nd to the 7th of August 2023 and will run under the theme Inclusive Economic Transformation. Partner with us and reach out to show goers by booking space for live interviews and stand coverages by engaging our marketing department on 0961 40 4493 or 0966 81 1428. To make sure that we do not leave anyone behind, we have flexible rates for small and medium enterprises. To our dear viewers, those of you that won't make it to the showgrounds, we will bring the show to you. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
You are watching the main news on Camnet TV. Thank you so much for still staying with us. In international news, Ethiopia's Council of Ministers is declaring a state of emergency in the country's AMHARA region after authorities pleaded for help as clashes intensify between regional forces and the military. The Prime Minister's office announced the decision on Friday after the region's leader said regular law enforcement was no longer able to contain the violence. The declaration needs approval from Parliament. Here's a roundup of international news.
A state of emergency has been declared in Ethiopia's AMHARA region after authorities pleaded for help as clashes intensified between regional forces and the military. The Prime Minister's office announced the decision on Friday after the region's leader said regular law enforcement was no longer able to contain the violence. The declaration needs approval from Parliament. This week, militia members attacked army units and protesters blocked roads. Ethiopia's second most populous region has been gripped by instability since April.
The United States called a Security Council meeting on the role of conflict in fueling food insecurity at a time when global food prices are rising. Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced $362 million in new funding for Haiti and 11 African countries, noting that grain prices have increased 8% since Russia pulled out of the Black Sea Grain Initiative and began bombing Ukrainian ports. The initiative was meant to protect food shipments leaving Ukraine and Russia.
Every member of the United Nations should tell Moscow, enough. Enough using the Black Sea as blackmail. Enough treating the world's most vulnerable people as leverage. Enough of this unjustified, unconscionable war.
But Russia, whose President Vladimir Putin recently met with African leaders and promised to send free grain to 6 of them, pointed a finger back at the United States.
It's hard not to notice that the amount of assistance provided by the U.S. and its allies to the countries of the global south cannot be compared to what the West has spent on weapons in less than 2 years for its proxy war.
The World Food Program has seen its costs increase by nearly 50% in the last year, and funding for humanitarian assistance has not kept pace, forcing some hard decisions for aid workers.
They are struggling with critical funding shortfalls and are only able to reach 50% of the need. They are faced with the impossible decision of which half of the children can live and which half will be sentenced to death.
African countries are among those hurt most by rising food prices.
Mozambique calls on the Security Council to do all in its power towards achieving a cessation of hostilities in all conflicts that continue to claim human lives.
Investigations are continuing after a riot broke out at an Eritrean cultural festival in Stockholm. Dozens of people were injured and more than 100 arrested amid clashes between pro- and anti-Eritrean regime factions on Thursday. The violence erupted when opponents of the government stormed the event, setting fire to tents and cars. Critics of the festival say it promotes a positive view of Eritrea's authoritarian rulers. The annual event has been running since the 1990s. The police will have to consider whether it should be allowed to be held in the future.
And in sports news, the Football Association of Zambia has responded to an online publication dated 3rd August 2023, in which alleged that FIFA is investigating claims that Zambia coach robbed players' chests at World Cup. FA's communications manager, Sydney Mongala, says the publication alleged that the Zambia's coach, Bruce Mwape, has been accused of robbing his hands over the chest of one of the players 2 days before Zambia's victory over Costa Rica in their final match at the Women's World Cup. It is further reported that FIFA has confirmed receiving an official complaint about the alleged incident and that FAS is believed to be aware of the incident. Mongala says FAS has not received any such complaint from any of the players or officials in the delegation that traveled to the World Cup. And FAS General Secretary Ruben Kamanga says the news has come as a surprise for FAS to hear of such alleged misconduct by the coach, as reported in the said online publication. Kamanga says all the training sessions for the Copper Queens were filmed by the FAS media team and offers no such footage as envisioned by the Guardian. Additionally, a FIFA film crew attached to the Zambian team at the World Cup was present at all the training sessions. Well, that item brings us to the end of our main news broadcast this evening. But before I go, let's take a look at the stories making headlines. Police question FDD leader EDITH NAWAKWI on the abduction of the HATEMBO'S. Harry KALABA asked government to subsidize MEALIE-MEAL. Over 3 months of unpaid salaries for council workers, ANNOYS, ZULAWU. And in international news, Ethiopia declares state of emergency in AMHARA region. And in sports news, FAS not aware of any sex scandal allegations involving the Copper Queens coach. Here is our Camnet verse of the day, coming from the book of Romans 7, verse 25. Thanks be to God who delivers me through Jesus Christ, our Lord. My name is Sylvia Zulu on behalf of the entire Camnet TV News production crew. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. Good night.